Yes, yes, we are. All right, so we are live now. So, good evening, everyone. This is Tanisha Singh from Integrity Immigration Group. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Jaren. He is a president of Aura College and he is live from France itself. So, first of all, a very warm welcome to Mr. Jaren and Miss Mahalakshmi. And we are very grateful to have you over our platform of Integrity Immigration page. So, hope you are doing good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much, Tanisha. I'll just make a very brief introduction of myself. So, as Tanisha said, my name is Darren Hunt. I'm the president of Or International School of Management here in Lyon. So, I'm live from Lyon. You have Maha, that is live from India itself. She looks after all the questions and queries, all the admissions for our school. She works for the school, but is based in India, in Chennai. So, what I'm going to do now is actually just present the school. Now, I'm conscious that you want to have as much information as possible in as little time as possible. So, I will be as quick as I can. Just a last point. You've probably noticed that I don't have a very strong French accent. It's because I'm actually British. However, I've lived nearly all of my life here in France, so I'm lucky enough to speak both languages. So, if I just move on, so talking about ourselves, or International School of Management. Basically, we are a new college. The college exists since 2021. You'll see later when we talk about accreditations that we are a college that's linked to the Minister of Education, of Higher Education in France. So it's not a training centre, it's a real college linked to the French government. The way that we've built the school is to be a little bit more modern. France is known to have a very high standard of education. However, I know that the system of education in France hasn't really developed that much over the last 20 years. I wanted it to develop because things are changing so quickly today with the digital industry being introduced, etc. So it's a very modern school, and our programs were built with our partners. We have chains of restaurants for hospitality and hotels, and we have blue chip companies. And these people that I knew in a previous life when I was the director of the biggest bank in France, I actually built the program with them so that it's adapted to today, having and wanting to find a job today. Moving quickly, if I talk about Lyon city itself, Lyon is the second biggest city, economically speaking, in France after Paris. However, Lyon itself is actually the capital in France for gastronomy. So one of the main reasons that we wanted to open the school here in Lyon was for the side of hospitality. Business we could have taught anywhere in France, but not for hospitality. It had to be here. It's the capital. It's where the Michelin stars were born. If you've heard of those, it's you have your very top end restaurants and then you have Michelin stars. Well, they were actually created here in Lyon. So it was important for us to be here. The other thing is that we have an international airport, so it's very easy to get here. It's just 2 hours from Paris. It's very short distance to go to Geneva. You can actually drive there in 50 minutes. Milano in Italy is just a couple of hours away. So it's very easy to get around within Europe and obviously within France. It was actually voted, Lyon was voted the best city in 2018, the best city for students to study. And that was from a magazine that's called, basically it's called Student or L'Étudiant in French. And the reason, or one of the many reasons why it was voted the best city to study is because obviously it's cheaper than Paris to live here. And one of the biggest things that students think about when they're going to study in another country is, what is it going to cost me? And I'll come back onto that point later. So that was one of the reasons. The other reasons were such as the transport system that we have here, which is very modern, which I'll talk about just next. And obviously the cultural side, everything you can do here. So going back to transport. So as I said, you can get around very easily within France and Europe from our international airport, but also it's a very lively city, as it says on the screen. Lots of theatres, lots of festivals to do. We took last December to the Festival of Lights. We took our students for a whole evening out. It's absolutely fantastic. So there's lots of things to do here in Lyon. Okay, so I said that it's the gastronomy capital of France. We have all the big chefs that come from here. Some of them you may or may not have heard of. Paul Bocuse is one of the best in the world. He's from here, and they all have their head office restaurants here, if you like. So for the gastronomy side of things and the hospitality side, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the best place to be. If I move on to accommodation now, there are a few things you need to know. Obviously, when you're going to live abroad, that's going to be something that you have to think about because it can be very expensive. In Lyon, I would say that it's approximately 40% cheaper than Paris. However, you're still looking at spending between 400 to 600 euros, not dollars, 400 to 600 euros per month. Now that will depend on the size of the apartment, if it's in the centre, if it's on the outskirts of the town, etc. Now, one point I must point out to you right now is that currently our college, we actually have our own buildings with apartments. We're actually to most of the students, in fact, that wish to have help, we're actually giving them accommodation in our apartments. They are paying for this on top of their studies. However, it's a lot cheaper. As you can see on the screen, 400 to 600. The most expensive one that we have is 350 euros, but it ranges between 250 to 350, so it's a bit cheaper. So we do have the possibility of offering accommodation to most of the students, and for others, we can help you. We have a partner company that can also offer apartments. If you don't want to share with anybody, you want to have your own apartment, that's completely possible. Some of the benefits of coming and studying in France. Why should I go and study in France? I think the first thing is that when you come here, you must realize that the French government really encourage students to come from abroad, even more so from India. Now, I say this from experience because one of the questions I very often get is that I'm coming to do my studies, I want to do an MBA in business. What are my chances of being able to stay in France a little bit after my studies to maybe look for a job, etc.? That's totally possible. For international students that come to France, they can ask for a stay-over visa or a work-searching visa for 1 year. Now, if you come from India, which is the case, then it's actually 2 years, which just, you could ask, well, why is it 2 years for us and a year for everybody else? It's because the diplomatic relations between France and India are very strong. And so, you know, they are doing the best they can to help students coming. So when you arrive, you'll have social security, which means that if you are ill, God forbid, and you need to go to the hospital, it has happened once. We had a student that had to go to hospital. It was nothing serious, but everything was taken care of. You don't have to pay anything. The government will pay for any medical that you need if you need to go to hospital, see a doctor, etc. The second point is called CAF, which means nothing to you at all, but basically it's a subsidy on your accommodation, which means that the government will actually help you financially and give you some money to help pay your rent. So any of the prices I gave you between 400 to 600, or even in our own apartments, 250 to 350 euros, you will be getting some money back from the government helping you to pay for that. Now, how much is it? It's difficult to say because it depends on your personal circumstances, but generally speaking, it's around 130 to 160 euros a month that they would give. So it's quite interesting. Once again, you can see the government are trying to help you and encourage you to come to France. When you're doing your studies with ourselves, I'll go into the studies later, but when you're doing either your BBA, your bachelor's degree, or your master's degree, some of what you will be doing will be an internship, working within a company to get experience, hands-on experience. We actually guarantee that you will have an internship, and not only do we guarantee that, but you will also be paid while you're doing your internship. Students' concessions, again, the French government. We've actually got or you would have a student card from our school, which is an official student card, which means that you can use this card to get discounts in many, many places, even food outlets. It could be the cinema, anything to do with leisure, even for your transport. It would be cheaper because you are a student, a lot cheaper. Last but not least, you have a Schengen visa when you come to France. That's what you would need. And with the Schengen visa, of course, you can visit the other 26 countries. So that's not a problem. Although you'll be working hard, so you may not have too much time to go and wander off looking around, but you can. Some of the special features of our particular college. All of the programs, of course, are delivered in English, obviously. However, one of the last points on there, we do give you French lessons each week so that you can learn French, which is really important. If you're going to be here for 2 or 3 years, you need to speak the language. You can't just sit back and say, well, look, they're teaching me in English. Why do I need to speak French? Many of our students that wished to have a part-time job, for example, have learned French, and they practically all of them, in fact 100% of the students that we have that wanted a job, not everybody does, that wanted a part-time job, they have a part-time job and they can speak a little bit of French. So you'll have all of the programs delivered in English, but French lessons each week. 6 months studies, 6 months paid internship per year. That's for MBA courses. For BBA courses, the first year you would have 9 months studies, 3 months internship, and then the following years, then we would move over to 6 months studies and 6 months paid internship. Case study and project-based studies. Basically, we found that this is one of the modern points we brought to our school, is that obviously working on case studies, which sometimes are real case studies, our partner companies have said, look, we've got a bit of a problem in our company and we'd like to have your thoughts on our problem, so we can share this and use this as a case study with our students. And sometimes, who knows, we will give them good arguments and good things to do or good suggestions for their company. And so this works well. SWOT analysis for each and every student so that we can work on your strengths and weaknesses. We work in smaller groups. We could have had classes of 40 people, 50 people, or even more. We have one classroom, we could put up to 60 people. But when you're 60 people in a room, you're not going to learn as quickly as if you're only 15, 20 maximum, because then it's easier for you to raise your hand, ask a question. It's easy for you to interact with the professor. So smaller groups is what we use. Basic IT skills and personality development programs will be given to the students. More than 70% of our professors have a PhD level. This was important for us, but I'm going to go one step further. All of our teachers are bilingual, but they're also bicultural, such as I am, because originally English, lived in France most of my life. So now I understand the both cultures. And what I want for the students that come to France is, one, to get their BBA or their MBA, 2, to understand the language, and 3, to understand the culture. Because when you understand different cultures, that's when you can integrate more easily and be better at what you do and in business. I've told you about the internship. What I didn't tell you is that the minimum amount that you would be paid on internship is €558 per month. Now, some companies pay more. That's the legal minimum that you would be paid each month during your internship. I can give you a couple of examples. We have one blue chip company which is paying just under €1,200 per month. We have a hospitality palace. It's not a hotel. Well, it is, but in hotels, I think you have 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star, and then you have palaces. And this is a palace that takes our students. They're giving just under €700 per month. However, the students are, they're having a whale of a time. They're there at the moment and they send us photos. They're living in a palace. They sleep in the palace. They eat in the palace, and they're given a uniform. So the money they get is literally just to put in their pockets. Okay, so accreditations and memberships. For your ECTS, the credits, basically after you've done your BBA program, you'd have 180 credits, and for the MBA program, 120 after you've completed the courses. We are a partner school of IIG. Obviously, I told you that we depend upon, and that's written in French. I apologise, but we have to because it's the French government logo. So that's the Minister of Higher Education and Research. And we're also a proud member of EFMD Global. I'm not going to go too much into the admission procedure at this moment in time, unless there are any particular questions on that. And Maha could probably talk to you more about that when she comes back in. But I'll just talk to you very quickly about the courses and tuition fees. So if we talk about hospitality, the BBA is for 3 years, the MBA for 2 years. These are some of the different subjects that you see in red underneath that will be covered. You'll have hospitality and hotel management, culinary arts, and also digital hospitality. For the BBA, the fees are €8,500 per year, €9,500 for the MBA. There is a €320 administration fee. Now, just one point on that. Another question that I get very often is, obviously, not 100% of the people that will apply to come to our school will actually get their visas, although the success rate that we have is very high because of the relations we have with Campus France. However, there will be people that won't get the visa. What happens to my money? I've paid you all this money. What's going to happen? You are refunded 100% of your tuition fee. However, the only thing that you are not refunded if you do not get your visa is €320 administration fee. This is because obviously we do have a lot of work that we're doing to help you to move towards getting and obtaining your visa. So this fee, unfortunately, is not reimbursed, but the full tuition fees are. We do have a limited number of scholarships that are available. There are currently at €2,000. Maha will smack me on the hand if I've made a mistake and correct me. So we do have a limited number of scholarships available, first come, first served basis, and based on your individual circumstances. Moving on to business. So again, 3 years for the BBA, 2 years for the MBA, covering HR, human resources, accountancy and financial, and digital marketing. The fee structure is identical. €8,500 per year BBA and €9,500 for the MBA, with the €320 administration fee. So just to introduce, last but not least, our executive MBA. Now, we introduced that at the beginning of this year. The slide's actually a little bit old. You can see register before the 28th of February. You're a little bit late for that, but not to worry. We've continued with the same offer. Executive MBA is what? It's for somebody that has had more than 3 years working experience. Now, that means that we consider, and the French government considers, that you have professional experience. So you can actually do your MBA in 15 months as opposed to 2 years. Okay, and as you can see on the screen, you also have your academic courses, and then you will have internships too. You'll have 2 internships, one of 6 months and one of 3 months. Once again, paid internships. Duration 15 months, fee structure €11,200 per year, and the admin fee is still 320, and we do have scholarships available of €1,500. That is it. Are there any questions? And if there are, then I will pass over to Maha. I hope I was quick enough there, Tanisha. I was trying to go as quick as possible, but as you know, I am a bit talkative.
Yes, yes. Already a brief thoroughly elaboration has been given by your end. So if further any kind of inquiries will be there, so students are free to visit to us, and we are here to just help them out regarding their admission process and their all inquiries. So I believe we are like ending up the session, and thank you so much for just briefing all the entire process and the benefits why France study visa and Aura is the best choice to for any student who's planning for Schengen or either France, because they are entertaining the best fees structure with the multiple salient features, advantages, hostel facility, and many more things. And so, anything, Ms. Mahalakshmi, you wanted to add up in the end of the session? Anything?
Yes, so like sir mentioned, so we do
Right.
we are still offering the scholarship, okay, for the October intake. We are offering till the July 15th. Okay, so I would encourage students to use this opportunity to apply to aura. Yes, that's all I wanted to add.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, if I can just say thank you once again for having us here today, Tanisha. Thank you for all watching,
Thank you so much.
and
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
I'll see some of you soon.
Right, right, right. Right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Goodbye.